I purchased some rototoms. We have 6, 8, and 10. These ones aren't made by Remo. Remo came out with the original ones. This one seems to be fairly heavy duty. I've had some cheaper sets of these, and the stand was nowhere near this. This is pretty nice. I believe it's original stand also. Comes with a memory lock, double brace stand, but it seems really heavy duty. Nice brushed aluminum rail. They're usually painted black. There's no company name on them, so I imagine they're just the generic heads. Pretty thin. I don't know what the black dot's all about. Under here, oh, it looks like it's loose actually. Huh. Okay, well, once I get the head off to clean everything, we'll have a closer look. I picked these up fairly cheap, so I'll give them a good cleaning. See how they sound. Here's what they sound like now. And the reason why they call it a rototom is because you can rotate it, and it'll either tighten the head or loosen it. It's pretty lonely over here. Let's fix that. These are rototoms from Steve Weiss Music. So we have a 12, a 14, and a 16-inch rototom. We also have the stands, and there's a little bit of assembly required. Crappy heads, but once I put pinstripes on here, thick double ply heads, they'll sound great. So I'm definitely going to have to paint these 3 black or these 3 silver, but I'm going to go with the black. And they all have to have a head change, thicker heads. And I'm not too happy with the way they are set up as far as setting them up to play on stage. I don't want to use these rails. I want to try something different. And before I even think to use these on stage, I got to find out if I can fit microphones on the rims or not. Let's find that out, shall we? Yes! So I don't have a microphone for the 6-inch, but I have one for all the rest. Let's see what I have for drum heads. 10, 12, 16 pinstripes new. That'll work. Need a 14 though. Ambassadors, no. Clear ambassadors, no. Evans G2 coated, no. 14 snare side, no. 14 ebony, no. That's snare side. No, none of those are thick enough. Okay, well, we got some. Yep. So that's going to cover the 10, the 12, and the 16. I'll have to buy a 14 and an 8 and a 6. And while I have these apart, because you have to kind of take them apart to change the heads, I'm going to paint these black. And then I also have to figure out a different way to set these up because I don't like it. Okay, well, this is what I have so far. I've been experimenting and ripping things apart and rebuilding it and driving myself nuts. So let me show you what I've done. The 6 and the 8 are still on the normal rail system, and I just multi-clamped that to the rack. The 10 and 12 I have attached directly to the rack with a multi-clamp. In order to do this, you have to take this off, just this piece here, just unscrews here. You don't have to worry about this one because it swivels. So this comes right off. Take this off, turn it around so this pointy piece is facing in that way. Because when you have it like this, the hole is too big for your threaded rod, so you need something to grab it. So that's why you turn it around and you have the pointy piece going in there and you're good to go. But the problem I'm finding with my 12-inch tom is it sounds weird. It's like it's putting too much pressure on the threaded rod, not letting it vibrate enough maybe. It just sounds kind of wonky. When I take it off the rail, it's fine. And when I put it back on, it's kind of deadens the sound. I put the threaded rod through here and then mounted them on here, but that was a big pain in the butt and it made them both sound like crap. And then the 14 I have on the Rototom, original Rototom stand, just not the bottom tripod part, and the rail and the tightener here. Just lock that out. And the reason I did it this way, I needed to point in farther because the 16-inch has to sit out farther. So that's why I mounted it that way. So here's what they sound like so far. I won't do the 6-inch because it doesn't have a microphone on it. So start with the 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. See, the 12 sounds kind of wonky. I think I might put a ring on it. Like these here, I'm going to do the 14 and the 16. Oh yeah, that's cool. I don't have one for the 12 yet. I got to cut one out. And then I had another thought. What if I mount the microphone underneath, but just have it hanging there off of this rail? I wonder if that's possible. Let's try that. Make sure it's not touching anything. And I won't do the 16-inch because it's a different mounting system. So let's see what they sound like with the microphones on the bottom. And another issue I'm having with this rack, this is a carbon fiber rack, by the way. I use it with another kit that's really very special, and we'll talk about it later. But the issue that I'm finding is usually the tom-toms, a normal tom-tom would sit on the other side of this. These are kind of hanging over top, so I'm having trouble mounting cymbal stands, trying to find a place to put them. So that's the issue I'm having right now. Other than that, it's going along pretty well. I only have my practice crash and practice ride up so far, and I'm going to see what I can do with the rest of the cymbal stands. I also might change this, since I don't have a microphone, another mic for this, and I would like this lower to match with the rest of the toms, because my other kits are like that. I have 3 up and 2 down. I don't have the extra one. This one I can mount off anywhere. I can mount that from a cymbal stand or whatever. So I think I might lower that rail, take this drum off, and lower that one to match the rest of the toms. That'll also help me with cymbal stand placement for here anyways. Alright, the 6, 8, and the 10 are all painted up and dried. Now all I have to do is put them together. So let's talk a little bit about where this rack come from. This rack came off of a drum set that belonged to the legendary Canadian drummer Mr. Jerry Mercer from the band April Wine. It came with a custom carbon fiber rack. It's a monolith kit, so that's the rack I'm using, made by Jerry and the owner of Monolith, Bill Hibbs. And I forgot to mention that even the tom mounts are carbon fiber, which is really cool. And this kit sounds killer. Change of plans. This just happened. So I found out Jerry was getting rid of some more of his rack stuff. And he was also selling that drum set, that maple kit that I'll show you with the red heads. That's up for sale. But he was selling some racks. So I probably own about probably 4 of the 7 racks that exist, I guess, I was told. I don't know if that's true or not. But anyway, so I was able to buy a few more racks off of him. So that's what I'm going to be using for the Rototom kit. So I'm going to use the rack that I was previously using and put that back with the Monolith kit, which means I have to rebuild that kit and all that fun stuff. So I thought I'd record this because I was getting too far ahead of myself and I want you guys to catch up. So what I'm doing is, this is the original threaded rod. What I did was bought some 3/8 threaded rod, 3-foot piece, cutting them into sections, 1-foot sections. So I'll have a little bit more play on the rack if I need it. Plus, I bought some coupling nuts that are going to be used for the rack part. Let me show you that. So it's going to sit in there like that. What you would normally have to do with the threaded rod is you would have to take this piece off, turn it around backwards, so this pointy piece would be pointing in, and it would clamp onto this threaded rod and it would kind of mess up your rod. So the only issue now is this rod is still turning. I've got some locking nuts that I'm going to put on, one on each end, and I'm going to see if that works. I'm not sure. We'll see. And if that doesn't work, then I know somebody that could just put a little spot of weld on there so it won't turn. So that way it's locked into place. I could still turn the rototom to tune it, and everything will be just peachy keen. So now I have to take all these apart, take the heads off, take this off to take the threaded bolt out, and then replace them with the other ones. So this is my crazy idea. Once I get the rototom, the rototom is going to be on this end. This is going to be where the clamp goes. It's going to clamp onto this, and I want to use both of these locking nuts. I want to use one on this side and then one on this side to lock this into place so I could tune the rototom, and this threaded part will stay stationary, hopefully. Alright, so the one part I'm seeing so far is this rod here is too long. It's going to hit my bass drum. So that has to be cut down. Probably they all have to be cut down, all three in the front, because I want to lower the rack a little bit more to get down here, which means I'm going to have to raise these up a little bit. But they're still like a little far up. So like all this has to come down closer to the bar, which means I have to cut some of this off the bottom. And then my next problem is this floor tom, the 14-inch, isn't getting close enough to me yet. So I might have to figure out a different plan for that. And so far the 18 haven't figured that out yet, but I think we're okay. But for now, my next step is to trim this bar down a little bit. And probably that one. No, I don't have to do that one. Let's start with this one so I can lower everything. Ain't it fun? So for this mess here, the 14-inch, I needed to come in a little bit closer. So I could pull in the bar, but that's going to bring this one really close. I might be able to put it on the other side of the rack of that bar, but I don't think it's going to give me a whole lot of extra room. And then the next big problem is going to be cymbal placement. Okay, this is what I have so far. Once again, I had to use a cymbal stand and put the rod through it to get it closer, and then keep that one far away. Because if I move the whole rack over that way, that drum will be closer and that one will be really close because it'll almost be right behind me. So that's what I had to do. Just like the last time I set this thing up. But I'm trying something different on this side. I'm trying to keep this close to the bass drum and then have a little arm sticking out here. I can put another clamp on here and probably put a ride cymbal here. And probably be able to get a crash cymbal into here and then over on the sidebar. And then, yeah, I have room for cymbals in here and on that back bar. So it should be okay for positioning. It's just that everything's a little close. So that's my next step. Oh, actually, no. The next step is to put the lock washers on there. On each drum, I have to put the lock washers. That way I can tune it. Because right now, if I turn this whole thing turns. The threaded rod turns. See? So I have to lock these in place in order for me to tune these drums. Because that one's really high right now. That one I can tune because it's clamped into the rod. And that one's not tuned yet. These are octabands. Well, not octabands, they're homemade octabands that I made. I will show you those in another video one day. Alright, so this is where I want the coupling nut to stay. This is where it's going to clamp onto. This is my locking nut. And how I had to get it on there was to thread it on here until it locked into place, because there's a little piece of plastic on the inside. Let me show you that. It's a little liner of plastic. That's what kind of locks it in place. So what I had to do is put another coupling nut on this side with the locking washer, tighten them both down together so it locks into place. Then put it on the end of my drill like so, and then you put your nut on there. Did I put it on the right side? Nope, that side like that. And then you get your wrench like that, and then you just, and then you're good to go. So I've already done that with that side, as you can see. So I'm going to take this off now and then switch ends so I can get another lock washer onto this side, lock all this into place, and I think we are good to go. Hopefully that'll hold and I'll be able to tune my rototom. And now, put this on this side, put the locking washer on, snug that up together. Make this tight.
Tight, 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 yeah!
Like that. Then put our locking nut on this side. I'll put this end into the socket. Whoops. And then ta-da! Just till it pokes through a little bit, like so. Put that on. Okay, put that on. Now, what I like to do to make sure this is kind of tuned evenly is I'll thread it in until the screw gets right to the bottom, even with the bottom of the rim. That way, everything should be evenly tuned, I'm hoping. I mean, these things are so easy to tune anyways. But if you're a little worried about how to do that, just put your thumb there, and when you start feeling the tension screw coming down and hit your thumb, just stop. So now everything's even. So now what we do is just give this a spin. There, now it's starting to tighten the head. I'm going to put this on the rack and we'll tighten her up. Now, if all goes according to plan, I should be able to turn this and it will go higher. And Have to get above this pole here. I might have to cut that. But anyway. Cool. That's what I got to do next. All right, 5 to go. All right, it's Thursday night. I got to tear this stuff down. I'm playing tomorrow night and I have to work, so I got to make sure I have everything torn down and ready in time for me to play. There's just a couple of things I still have to do. Is figure out a couple of places to put these memory locks for the pipes, just so when I put it back together, it's going to be a lot easier. I have one here, which is good. Got one there, which is good. And there, and there. I'm thinking maybe just the bottom of the legs, so when I put everything in, it'll be nice and straight, so it'll line up with this clamp. Other than that, I should be okay. I had to sacrifice the rototom stands. I cut them a little bit short, which is good. And when you put them in the stand, you don't really raise them up anyways because the stands are super high. So this is the best way to do it because I can angle it now like a normal tom-tom. They don't have to be all flat and straight across. Plus I can slide them back and forth wherever I want, go up and down this way. I did that with the front two toms. This one kind of the same thing. I didn't cut the rail on it, but it should be fine. These are my broken practice cymbals. I don't care if I bang the crap out of them. Not that I do anyways, but I'm not worried about anything breaking anymore. So yeah, I'm using the 8, 10, 12, 14, and 16. I'm not setting up the 6-inch for now, but this will be just fine for the weekend. Go a little bit lower. Anyway, I'm going to try them out for the weekend, see how it goes, because I have to, in a couple of weeks, I'm playing at another bar where they're a lot quieter, or they need to be a lot quieter. So I'm going to try them out this weekend, see how it goes, and mic them all up, and see how the boys like them. All right, time to tear this stuff down, label it. Oh, another thing you got to do is really handy if you're a gigging drummer is to number all your stands. I go 1, 2, 3 all around like that way, and then sometimes I will label these things for the tom mounts. And yeah, it's a good thing to do. You can do a label maker. You can just do painter's tape, whatever, duct tape. Doesn't matter, but it's really handy when you're setting up.